I never expected to find myself standing in front of a dilapidated barn at the age of 27, clutching a rusty key and questioning every life choice that had led me to this moment. The August heat bore down mercilessly as I stared at my inheritance, 200 acres of supposedly worthless land that my family couldn't believe I'd actually accepted. Sarah's lost her mind. I'd overheard my sister Amanda tell our mother at the reading of Grandpa Joe's will, who chooses a rundown farm over a cash inheritance. But something in Grandpa's eyes during our last conversation had told me there was more to this property than anyone realized. He called me to his hospital room 3 days before he passed, his weathered hands gripping mine with surprising strength. "The farm, Sarah," he'd whispered, his voice rough but urgent. "Take the farm. Remember what I taught you about looking beneath the surface." Now, watching the prairie grass wave in the hot wind, I wondered if my family might be right. The main house needed major repairs. The fences were falling apart, and this barn, while it looked like it might collapse if someone sneezed too hard. My phone buzzed, another text from Amanda. "Mom's worried about you. It's not too late to sell that wasteland and split my inheritance with you. Be reasonable for once." I silenced the phone and pulled out Grandpa's key. The barn door groaned in protest as I pushed it open, sending dust motes dancing in the sunbeams that pierced the old roof. The interior smelled of aged wood and memories, summer afternoons helping Grandpa repair farm equipment, him teaching me about engines while my sister and cousins played video games inside. "You've got oil in your veins, just like me," he'd say proudly, while Mom fretted about me being a tomboy, and Dad urged me to focus more on my business degree. The barn looked empty at first glance, just some old tools hanging on the walls, piles of weathered lumber, and a rusty tractor that hadn't run in years. But Grandpa's words echoed in my mind, looking beneath the surface. I ran my hands along the walls, remembering how he taught me to check for hidden problems in engine blocks. "Sometimes the real story isn't what you can see, Sarah. It's what's hidden underneath." Near the back wall, my fingers caught on something, a slight irregularity in the wooden planks. Pressing harder, I felt it give slightly. There was a click and a section of the flooring shifted. My heart pounding, I pulled up the loose boards. Underneath was a metal hatch with a combination lock. The numbers were worn, but I recognized the style, the same type Grandpa used on his workshop, where he kept his prized tools. I closed my eyes thinking, what would he have used? Not his birthday, too obvious. Not mine, he wouldn't risk my sister or cousins guessing it. Then I remembered. The year he bought this farm, 1962. He told me the story countless times about how everyone said he was crazy to buy this worthless piece of land. The lock clicked open. The hatch was heavy, but years of helping Grandpa with farm work had made me stronger than my family gave me credit for. As it swung up, I found myself staring down into darkness. My phone's flashlight revealed a steep set of stairs leading underground. This wasn't just a cellar. The walls were lined with concrete, and thick electrical cables snaked along the ceiling. At the bottom of the stairs, I found a metal door with another keypad. This time, I didn't hesitate. 1962 again. The room beyond took my breath away. Banks of old computers lined the walls, their screens dark but still connected. Blueprints and technical drawings covered a massive workbench. And there, in the center of it all, stood something straight out of science fiction. A large cylindrical device bristling with gauges and dials. "Oh, Grandpa," I whispered. "What were you working on down here?" A leather-bound journal sat on the workbench. Opening it, I recognized Grandpa's precise handwriting. Project Aurora, Sustainable Energy Initiative Lead Engineer. Joseph Carter. Date: March 15, 1962. After years of research, I believe I finally discovered the key to clean, unlimited energy. The geological formation beneath this farm is unique, a perfect combination of mineral deposits that, when properly stimulated, could generate electromagnetic fields powerful enough to revolutionize how we harness energy. The government showed interest initially, but they wanted to weaponize it. I couldn't let that happen, so I bought this land, built this facility, and continued my work in secret. My granddaughter Sarah is the only one who might understand. She has the same spark, the same ability to see beyond the obvious. My hands shook as I turned the pages. Detailed calculations, experimental data, and intricate diagrams filled the journal. This wasn't the ramblings of an old farmer. This was breakthrough science, decades ahead of its time. A sealed envelope fell from between the pages. My name was written on it in Grandpa's hand. Dear Sarah, if you're reading this, you found my life's work. The others think I'm just a simple farmer who got lucky buying cheap land. Let them think that. You always understood there was more. You asked the right questions, saw the potential others missed. What lies beneath this farm could change the world, but only if used wisely. The mineral deposits create a natural electromagnetic generator. I built this facility to harness it. The technology works, but I could never perfect it alone. All my research is here, along with the patents I never filed. The computer drives contain decades of data. Trust your instincts just like you did when you chose this worthless farm over cash. Don't tell the family yet. Some things need to grow in shadow before they can survive in light. Love, Grandpa Joe. I sank into his old work chair, mind racing. This wasn't just an inheritance, it was a responsibility. A legacy. While everyone else saw worthless land, Grandpa had seen the future, and he trusted me to carry it forward. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my father. Sarah, this stubborn streak has gone on long enough. No one's going to buy that farm except maybe for the mineral rights. Stop playing farmer and come back to the real world. Mineral rights. If he only knew. I looked around the hidden lab, at years of brilliant work just waiting to be continued. Then I pulled out my laptop and opened a new document. First step, catalog everything. Second, understand the research. Third, figure out how to turn this hidden breakthrough into something that could help people. But the real work would be keeping it secret until I was ready. Because what my family didn't know, what no one knew, was that this worthless farm was about to change everything. And the sister they dismissed as impractical was the key to it all. For the next 6 months, I lived 2 lives. By day, I was the stubborn daughter who foolishly clung to a worthless farm. By night, I delved into Grandpa's research, teaching myself advanced physics and electrical engineering through online courses while decoding his brilliant work. The underground lab became my second home. I upgraded the old computers, carefully transferred decades of data to modern systems, and spent countless hours studying the strange device in the center of the room. Grandpa's notes revealed it was a prototype electromagnetic field generator, designed to tap into the unique mineral formation beneath the farm. My sister Amanda dropped by unannounced one afternoon, probably sent by our parents to check on me. She found me in overalls, covered in dirt from repairing the barn's roof. "Oh, Sarah," she sighed, designer purse dangling from her arm. "This is getting ridiculous. You're living like a hermit out here. Did you even know Morgan Stanley offered me a promotion? I'm moving to their London office next month." I nodded absently, my mind on the breakthrough I'd had last night. Grandpa's electromagnetic field calculations needed just one adjustment to achieve stable energy output. "That's great, Amanda. Really great. Are you even listening? Look at yourself." She gestured at my work clothes. "You have an MBA from Cornell, and you're playing farmer. Mom's right, you're having some kind of quarter-life crisis." If she only knew I'd spent the previous night running complex simulations on quantum electromagnetic fields. "I'm fine, Amanda. The farm is fine." "The farm is not fine. It's falling apart. And so is your life." She pulled out her phone, showing me photos of expensive London apartments. "Come to London with me. I can help you get a real job in finance. Stop wasting your time here." I thought about the patent applications I'd secretly filed last week, about the promising early tests of Grandpa's device, about the emails from 3 major energy companies expressing interest in my theoretical papers on sustainable electromagnetic power generation. "I appreciate the offer," I said carefully, "but I'm exactly where I need to be." After she left, I returned to the lab. The prototype was finally ready for a full test. I'd spent weeks checking every calculation, every connection. The mineral deposits beneath the farm created a natural electromagnetic chamber. Grandpa's genius was in finding a way to harness it safely. I initiated the startup sequence, watching as the gauges came alive. The cylinder hummed, electromagnetic fields building exactly as predicted. Power readings climbed steadily. Then everything went wrong. The lights flickered. Alarms blared. The cylinder's hum turned into a dangerous whine. I lunged for the emergency shutdown, but not before a massive power surge shot through the system. The entire farm went dark. So did the neighboring properties. When I emerged from the lab, I found police cars and utility trucks at my gate. Ma'am, a utility worker approached. We detected a massive power anomaly centered on your property. We need to inspect your land. My heart raced. It's an old farm. Probably just faulty wiring in the barn. I'll have an electrician look at it. But I knew they wouldn't let it go. The surge had been too large to ignore. That night, I got an email from the Department of Energy requesting a meeting about unusual electromagnetic activity detected in the area. I needed help, real help. That's when I remembered Dr. Helen Chen, my favorite physics professor from Cornell. She'd always said I had a gift for theoretical energy systems. More importantly, she had government clearance and a reputation for integrity. I sent her Grandpa's journal and key research data. 3 days later, she arrived at the farm. My God, she whispered, examining the prototype. Your grandfather was decades ahead of his time. This could revolutionize clean energy production. But, she turned to me, you know they'll try to take it from you once this goes public. I nodded. That's why I need your help, not just with the science, but with protecting it. The next few months were a blur of activity. Dr. Chen helped me perfect the system while also connecting me with trusted patent lawyers and ethical investors. We worked in secret, knowing we'd only get one chance to announce this right. Then came the day that changed everything. My family had gathered at my parents' house for Amanda's going-away party before her London move. I sat quietly as they discussed her brilliant career prospects, occasionally casting pitying glances my way. At least the farm's good for something, my father said, sipping his wine. The power company called me again about buying the mineral rights. Might be time to cut your losses, Sarah. Actually, I said, sliding a newspaper across the table, you might want to read this first. It was tomorrow's edition, sent to me by the publisher. The headline read, Revolutionary Clean Energy Breakthrough Discovered in Rural America, Carter Electromagnetic Technologies, valued at $3.2 billion after first demonstration. The article detailed how my company, named for Grandpa, had successfully created and patented a groundbreaking sustainable energy system. The Department of Energy had already signed a preliminary contract. Major tech companies were fighting for licensing rights. The room fell silent. Amanda's wine glass stopped halfway to her lips. My father's hands shook as he read the article. That power surged 3 months ago, I said quietly. That wasn't faulty wiring. That was our first successful test of Grandpa's electromagnetic field generator. The mineral deposits under that worthless farm, they're essential to the technology. That's why he bought the land in the first place. My mother found her voice first. But, you've been living like a farmer, working in that old barn. The barn was a cover. The real work was happening underground, in Grandpa's secret lab. He left me everything, his research, his prototypes, his dreams of clean energy. All these months, I wasn't failing or having a crisis. I was finishing what he started. Dr. Chen chose that moment to walk in. Sarah, the Chinese delegation has arrived. They're very interested in licensing the technology for their renewable energy initiative. The next hour was surreal. My family watched in shock as I conducted a video conference with international energy executives, discussing technical specifications and licensing terms with confidence. Why didn't you tell us? Amanda asked later, her London plans suddenly seeming small in comparison. I thought about all the times they dismissed my choices, belittled my faith in Grandpa's farm. Would you have believed me, or would you have tried to take control, just like you always do? The transformation in my family was remarkable. My father, who'd spent months trying to convince me to sell the farm, now proudly told everyone about his daughter, the energy innovator. My mother finally stopped sending me job listings for real careers. A year later, Carter Electromagnetic Technologies had facilities on 3 continents. The prototype in Grandpa's lab had evolved into a full-scale power generation system. The worthless farm became a high-tech research campus, though I preserved the old barn exactly as it was, secret lab and all. I keep Grandpa's journal in my office, a reminder that sometimes the greatest opportunities look like worthless land to others. Sometimes success means believing in something no one else can see. Last week, I gave a graduation speech at Cornell's engineering school. Students asked me the secret to success. I told them about a farmer who saw the future in a patch of land everyone else dismissed. About having the courage to look beneath the surface. About knowing that true value isn't always visible to others. The farm is still my home. Every morning, I watch the sun rise over the fields where Grandpa once taught me to see beyond the obvious. The barn still stands, its secret lab now a private museum to one man's brilliant vision and another's faith. My family finally understands what Grandpa knew all along, that sometimes the greatest legacy isn't what you can see, but what you believe in enough to protect and nurture until it changes the world. As for that worthless inheritance, last month Forbes valued Carter Electromagnetic Technologies at $8.7 billion. But sitting in Grandpa's old workshop, surrounded by his notes and drawings, I know the real value was never about money. It was about believing in something everyone else dismissed, about having the courage to stand alone until the world caught up to your vision. The Department of Energy now calls our technology the future of sustainable power. Environmental groups praise our zero-emission systems. But I still remember standing alone in front of that old barn, clutching a rusty key, choosing to believe in something no one else could see. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong, it's proving yourself right. They say money can't buy happiness, but in my experience, it can certainly reveal who's really happy for yours. I learned this lesson the hard way after years of supporting my family only to discover what they really thought of me and my boring lifestyle. I'm Rebecca Chen, 34, senior accountant at Morris & Wallace, and until recently, the unofficial family bank for my parents and siblings. The responsible one they called me, usually with a slight eye roll, as if being responsible was something to be pitied. My younger sister Olivia was the free spirit, always chasing her next big dream, whether it was becoming a yoga instructor in Bali or starting an organic smoothie business that lasted exactly 3 weeks. My brother Marcus was the entrepreneur who jumped from one get-rich-quick scheme to another, each one requiring just a little more seed money to really take off. And my parents? They enabled it all, praising Olivia's bravery for quitting yet another job to find herself, and admiring Marcus's business acumen, even as his ventures consistently failed. Meanwhile, I was the one they called when rent was due or credit card bills piled up. It started small, as these things often do. A few hundred here, 1,000 there. Just until my next big break, Marcus would say, "I'll pay you back double when this takes off." Olivia's requests were more dramatic. "The universe will return your kindness tenfold, Becca. Besides, what else are you doing with your money? Working 60 hours a week just to sit alone in your apartment?" I didn't sit alone in my apartment, actually. I worked hard, yes, but I also had a life, one that was perhaps quieter than theirs, but no less fulfilling. I enjoyed my book club, my weekend hiking group, and my volunteer work at the local animal shelter. I had good friends who didn't need constant financial bailouts to maintain our relationship. But family is family, right? So I helped. Every month, like clockwork, I transferred money to cover various emergencies. Dad's golf club membership when he complained about losing business connections. Mom's luxury spa weekends because stress is killing me, dear. Olivia's endless spiritual retreats and Marcus's business ventures. The breaking point came at last year's Thanksgiving dinner. I just finished explaining to Marcus why I couldn't invest in his latest scheme, a cryptocurrency platform for pet owners. Don't ask, when Olivia started in. "God, Becca, you're so boring," she sighed, picking at her organic, gluten-free stuffing that I had specially ordered for her. "All you do is work and save money. Don't you want to actually live?" Mom nodded sagely. "Darling, you're not getting any younger. Maybe you should take some of that money you're hoarding and do something exciting. Travel. Find yourself." "I'm perfectly happy with who I am," I replied, trying to keep my voice level. "And I'm not hoarding money, I'm being responsible with it." "Responsible?" Marcus snorted. "That's code for scared. Too scared to take risks, to really go after what you want in life." Dad looked up from his phone long enough to add, "He's got a point, kiddo. You could learn something from your siblings about following your dreams." I stared at them, these people who had collectively borrowed over $200,000 from me in the past 5 years, none of which had been paid back, naturally, because family doesn't keep score. "And how exactly do you think I'm able to help you all follow your dreams?" I asked quietly, "Where do you think the money comes from?" "Oh, honey," Mom patted my hand condescendingly, "we know you make good money at that boring job of yours. But what's the point of having it if you don't enjoy it? We're just trying to help you learn to live a little." The irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. But before I could respond, Olivia dropped her latest bomb. Speaking of living, I've decided to open a crystal healing center. I just need a small loan to get started. Say, $50,000. It's going to be amazing. I've already designed the logo and everything. $50,000? I repeated. Olivia, that's not a small loan. Don't be stingy, Marcus chimed in. You're always saying no lately. Anyone would think you don't want us to succeed. Succeed at what? The words burst out before I could stop them. Name one project, just one, that any of you has seen through to completion. One loan you've paid back. The table fell silent. Mom's face crumpled into her practiced hurt expression. Dad suddenly became very interested in his mashed potatoes. Olivia's eyes welled with tears. I can't believe you're keeping score, she whispered. That's so materialistic. It's not about the money, I tried to explain. It's about respect, about appreciating. No, it is about money, Marcus interrupted. You've got plenty of it, but you're too selfish to share. Too caught up in your safe, boring little world to help your family reach for the stars. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I'm done. Sitting down to finish dinner? Good idea, dear, Mom said brightly, trying to smooth things over as usual. No, I said, gathering my purse. I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done being mocked for working hard and being responsible. I'm just done. Don't be dramatic, Dad sighed. Sit down and let's talk about this rationally. Rational? I laughed. Like how you rationalize spending $500 a month on golf while asking me to pay your property taxes? Or how Olivia rationally believes she can run a crystal healing center with zero business experience. Now you're just being mean, Olivia sniffed. I took a deep breath, trying to center myself. No, I'm being honest. For the first time in years, I'm telling you all exactly what I think. And what I think is that this needs to stop. What needs to stop? Marcus demanded. Family helping family. When was the last time any of you helped me? I asked. The silence was telling. That's what I thought. Starting today, the Bank of Rebecca is closed. Permanently. I left to a chorus of protests and guilt trips, but I didn't look back. In my car, I pulled out my phone and did something I should have done years ago. I downloaded a budgeting app and began calculating exactly how much money I'd given my family over the years. The total made me feel sick. $478,350 over 5 years. Nearly $500,000 gone to fund dreams that never materialized and lifestyles none of them had earned. What they didn't know, what no one knew, was that I had my own dream. One I'd been quietly working toward for years, carefully saving what I could despite their constant demands. I wanted to start my own financial advisory firm, helping others learn the money management skills my family so desperately lacked. And I had a secret that would help make that dream come true. Every week for the past 10 years, I played the same lottery numbers, my parents' anniversary, my siblings' birthdays, the date I got my first accounting job. Not because I really expected to win, but because it was my small act of rebellion, spending $5 a week on something completely irrational. The night before that fateful Thanksgiving dinner, I checked those numbers one more time, just like I did every Wednesday and Saturday, but this time was different. This time they matched. I'd won $47 million, and my family had no idea. The first week after cutting off my family was surprisingly peaceful. I'd expected a barrage of calls and texts, but there was only silence. I should have known it wouldn't last. The messages started rolling in exactly one day before rent was due. Becca, sweetie. Mom's voice dripped honey through my voicemail. We know you were upset at Thanksgiving, but surely you've calmed down by now. Call me back. Then came Olivia's text. OMG sis, having major spiritual blockage. Universe says I need to open the Crystal Center ASAP. When can we discuss financing? Marcus was more direct. Need $2,000 by tomorrow. Business emergency. Don't be selfish. I ignored them all, focusing instead on my plans. I'd already met with financial advisors and lawyers, setting up structures to protect and invest my lottery winnings. The money was safely deposited, growing through careful investments while I figured out my next steps. My family's next move surprised even me. They showed up at my office en masse, creating such a scene that my colleague Janet had to call security. You can't just abandon your family, Mom wailed as the security guard approached. After everything we've done for you. I kept my voice calm, professional. Please leave before this gets more embarrassing. Embarrassing? Marcus scoffed. What's embarrassing is having a sister who let her own family end up homeless. That got my attention. Homeless? What are you talking about? Dad stepped forward, his golf tan somehow making him look more pathetic. We're behind on the mortgage. The bank, they're threatening foreclosure. We needed that money we asked for at Thanksgiving, but you were too busy having your little tantrum. I felt my colleagues watching, whispers spreading through the office. Fine. If they wanted to do this here, we would do this here. Let me get this straight, I said loud enough for everyone to hear. You took out a mortgage you couldn't afford, assuming I would cover it. Without asking me, while criticizing my lifestyle and career choices. And now I'm the bad guy. We're family, Olivia sniffed. Family helps family. Really? Where was that family spirit when I worked through Dad's heart surgery, when I needed help moving? When I was working 60-hour weeks to support everyone's dreams. Security finally arrived to escort them out. As they left, Marcus turned back. You'll regret this, Becca. When you're old and alone with nothing but your money to keep you company, you'll regret choosing it over family. I waited until they were gone before closing my office door and pulling out my phone. A few quick calls confirmed what I'd suspected. They were lying about the foreclosure. The house payment was due, yes, but they were only 1 month behind. The emergency was entirely manufactured. That night, I made a decision. It was time to start my new life, really start it. I typed up my resignation letter, giving my firm a generous 3 months' notice. Then I began looking for office space to launch my financial advisory firm. 2 weeks passed. My family tried everything: guilt trips, fake emergencies, even sending flying monkeys in the form of distant relatives calling to tell me how cruel I was being. I stayed firm. Then came the article. Local woman claims $47 million LOTER prize. The story ran with a photo of me accepting the oversized check, taken weeks ago when I claimed my winnings privately. I'd asked the Lottery Commission to delay the announcement, giving me time to get my affairs in order. Now it was public and my phone exploded. UWNDLOTER. Olivia's text screamed. OMG, this is perfect timing. The Crystal Center. I blocked her number. Mom and Dad showed up at my apartment that evening. I watched through the security camera as they rang the bell repeatedly. Rebecca Chin. Dad's voice came through the intercom. Open this door immediately. We need to discuss your inheritance. I pressed the intercom button. My inheritance? Yes, you can't handle this kind of money alone. You need family to help you manage it. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Like you've managed your own money? No thanks. We're your parents, Mom cried. We have a right. To what? The money I won. The money I earned. Just like you had a right to the $500,000 I've given you over the years. That shut them up. What do you mean, $500,000? Dad's voice was suddenly sharp. I have spreadsheets, I replied. Every loan, every bailout, every emergency payment. Would you like me to email you the total? With interest calculations. They left, but I knew this wasn't over. Sure enough, the next day I received a letter from a lawyer, claiming my family was entitled to part of my winnings because family contributions had enabled me to buy the lottery tickets. My own lawyer laughed when I showed him the letter. They're trying to argue that by taking your money for years, they somehow contributed to your lottery win. That's creative. The letter went into my growing file of family manipulation attempts, but it gave me an idea. I hired a forensic accountant to compile a complete record of every penny I'd given my family, every transfer, every check, every cash handout. The total with modest interest came to $512,743. Then I set up a trust. When my family arrived for the meeting I'd called at my lawyer's office, they were practically salivating. Marcus had already drafted a business proposal. Olivia was carrying vision boards. Mom clutched her designer handbag like a shield. Before you say anything, I began, I want to show you something. I handed each of them a folder containing the complete accounting of what they'd borrowed over the years. This trust, I continued as they flipped through the pages, contains exactly $512,743. That's every penny you've taken from me, plus 3% interest. a more than fair return on my investment in your dreams. Their faces lit up until I continued. The trust will pay out under specific conditions. First, you must complete a financial literacy course, which my new firm will provide free of charge. Second, any business ventures must be accompanied by a viable business plan reviewed by independent advisors. Third, all payments will be made directly to creditors, no cash handouts. But, Olivia started. I'm not finished. If you refuse these terms, the entire trust amount will be donated to financial literacy programs for low-income families. Your choice. The explosion was immediate. Mom cried. Dad blustered. Marcus threatened more legal action. Olivia declared that the universe would punish my negative energy. I let them rant. Finally, when they ran out of steam, I spoke again. For years, you've called me boring. Told me I don't know how to live. Said I'm too focused on money. But here's what I've learned. Money isn't about controlling people or funding empty dreams. It's about security, independence, and the freedom to help others responsibly. I stood up, gathering my things. I'm opening my own financial advisory firm. I'll be helping people learn what you never wanted to learn. How to manage money wisely, how to build real security, how to make their dreams sustainable. The trust offer stands. Take it or leave it. But either way, the Bank of Rebecca is closed forever. 1 month later, to my genuine surprise, they all enrolled in the financial literacy course. Mom cried through the budgeting session. Dad looked physically ill during the retirement planning module, but they stuck with it. Olivia actually developed a viable business plan, not for a crystal healing center, but for a wellness coaching practice that combined her spiritual interests with practical stress management techniques. The trust helped her rent a small office and get proper certifications. Marcus struggled the most, but eventually found his niche managing social media for small businesses, a job that satisfied his entrepreneurial spirit while providing steady income. Today, my firm is thriving. We specialize in helping families develop healthy financial relationships. Sometimes I share my own story with clients, leaving out the lottery win but keeping the lessons about boundaries and enabling. Mom and Dad finally sold their too-large house, downsizing to a comfortable condo they can actually afford. They still occasionally hint about sharing the wealth, but the hints are gentler now, more wishful thinking than demand. The lottery money, most of it is invested, funding scholarships and supporting financial literacy programs. I bought myself a modest house with a garden and donated to the animal shelter where I still volunteer. Not very exciting by my family's old standards, but exactly right for me. Last week, Olivia stopped by my office. You know what, Becca? You were right. Being boring, being responsible, it's actually kind of liberating. I smiled, remembering the free spirit who once mocked my budgeting spreadsheets. It's not about being boring or exciting, I told her. It's about being true to yourself and taking care of your own future. I get that now, she nodded. And thank you. Not for the money, but for caring enough to say no. Sometimes the biggest gift you can give family is the chance to stand on their own feet. And sometimes the most exciting adventure is learning to love your own path, even if others call it boring. As for me, I'm exactly where I want to be, helping others find their financial freedom, one spreadsheet at a time.